Hi, this is Brooks Flanagan, and we're joined today by Josh Losov. Josh is a NetSuite expert who has helped over 100 companies implement NetSuite from startups to Fortune 1000 companies. We are here today to talk about how NetSuite can help you increase profit margins by 10 to 20%. We've helped our NetSuite customers deploy some very effective strategies that have created a huge impact on increasing their profit margins. Josh, can you tell us a little more about these best practices and what you've seen our leading customers deploy in NetSuite?
Absolutely. Yeah, thanks, Brooks. And these best practices are things that are often not available in a system that you've been using prior to NetSuite. Maybe it's because your company was smaller and on a smaller system or on an outdated system. So a lot of this is using a system to give us the flexibility to look at the economics of our business more on a unit level. So you'll see those strategies as we're talking about this and how customers are getting those improvements in profitability. And those are big numbers, but those are truly what our customers are seeing. So let's start at the top. So if we're going to improve our profit margins, the first thing we all think about is revenue. So one of the things that our customers are doing within NetSuite is when they're looking at the items that they're selling. So here, for example, I'm selling an inventory item. But what NetSuite's going to allow me to do is create price levels. Okay. Now I'm going to have multiple ways that I show you to control price. This first example is my ability to have price levels that I can um, assign one or more customers or channels to, right? List price, and maybe there's some discounting from there. I can also have quantity-based pricing. So as my customers buy more and more, I give them incentive in order to continue purchasing. Additionally, and this is where I'll start to get into some of the ROI in a minute here, is I can also have pricing at the customer level. So this is a customer where I can set specific item level pricing or group level pricing, where I can actually have multiple groups of customers have certain price levels they subscribe to. Now, the fact that we have these multiple ways to control pricing is the first place we can start to get that improvement or profit margin. Historically, what happens is a lot of our customers come to us and say, well, this item costs, widget A costs $1, or I sell it for $1. Widget B, I sell for $5. But the truth is, depending on the industry and the business you're in, you don't have to have the same pricing for every customer. But a lot of times people can't manage, track what those prices are when they are variable across their customer base. So the fact that we can systematize this and have pricing on a customer by customer basis without being a burden, because all these numbers will flow through to all the sales orders and invoices that we're ultimately going to provide, that we're able to now control pricing at that more unit economic level, being customer by customer or item by item. So what that ends up doing is allows us to negotiate each time we're working with a new customer or or partner or wholesaler or whomever that may be. And that's where we'll start to get that improvement. So instead of everybody just getting that rack price of $5 a unit, maybe there's a couple people who pay 5 and a couple people pay 6 or 450, depending on different agreements that again are easy to monitor and manage here. So that way we don't lose or put so much of that price on the table and lose it. Secondly is our costs. So from a cost perspective, we always want to be using purchase orders in NetSuite. So when I'm buying things here in NetSuite, what I want to do is have the costs or the rates per unit in the system. And I can have them in the system on a vendor by vendor basis. So that way it's going to default every time I create these purchase orders that need to be approved. Then once I have these purchase orders, what I can do is have them go through approval processes. But I can also set up purchase contracts where I can actually have the rates go up or down based on quantities within the purchase order. So if I exceed units of 20, maybe my rate goes to $5. If I'm at quantity of 100, maybe my rate goes to $4 and $3 or whatever that discount may be. And that's what's going to allow us to control rates globally on a vendor by vendor basis based on different types of quantity volumes or contracts. So that way we're ensuring we always have the best price. So we shouldn't be scared to negotiate these contracts with our vendors that are advantageous for us because we were always worried about how would I track this or how would I manage this. Now within the system, we'll be able to do that. So first was a pricing strategy. Now it's a purchasing strategy around COGS. And then finally, what we want to make sure we're doing when we receive the items is capturing our costs, our landed costs. So in NetSuite, we can start to allocate costs across an order a number of different ways and across different types of cost categories, whether that's duty or freight, et cetera. And the importance here is what we've seen a lot of our customers not do or not track well is the real profitability of of the orders. So when I can actually see the true cost of what I'm purchasing, I can see, hey, why did my team air freight these items in? Or why aren't we using standard shipping for these items? And I can see where I'm losing margin as I'm tracking these landed costs on an order by order level. So net net, these are the three key drivers that we're seeing our customers focus on and getting into more detail with NetSuite. So again, pricing, we can now have better and more strategic contracts and conversations with our customers because we know that we're confident we can monitor and manage these different price levels or groups or discounts or quantity level pricing accordingly. On the purchasing side, we talked about how now we can better control pricing with vendors because we're comfortable in the fact that we can have these purchasing contracts that can automatically set the rates when I'm go to purchase things. And then finally, when I receive the goods, I know that I can track landed costs easily so that way I can see the fully burdened cost of these items. So as I'm transacting in the system, I'll know the profitability of my orders to see if my shipping methods are advantageous to the business or not. So if we just deploy those three things and put a keen focus on them, our customers without doubt are saying that's where they're seeing up to 10 or 20% gross profit improvement because historically they simply weren't tracking it.
Great. And where have you seen a large ROI for organic growth for companies using NetSuite?
Yeah, and that's a good question right now, given what's going on in the economy. Certainly we can talk about inorganic strategies another time, but organically, what we've had a lot of customers come back to us and say is, how do I get more out of my existing customer base? So one of the features in NetSuite that we're big fans of, but candidly, we don't see it taken advantage as much as it should, is on a customer's record in NetSuite, I have this thing called the upsell. And what this does is it shows me based on other transactions, right? A count of other transactions, the correlation of items purchased and items to upsell. So here, for example, what I can see is that customers who bought this item, ASY number 4, had a 79% correlation across 27 transactions to then purchase WRB 101. So sometimes low-hanging fruit, especially given uncertainty, is always within our existing customer base. There's a lot of value still there, even if we're not able to always talk to them every day or whatnot. But we can use this information to look at the correlations across items sold to then do different types of marketing campaigns and retargeting campaigns of our existing customer base, who is someone we've already acquired. So the cost to acquire them is nil at this point, but extending that lifetime value with that customer. So just doing something simple like looking at the Upsell Manager, which NetSuite was so smart to build, and using the correlation method here, we can easily find additional ways to target our existing customer base and extract some organic revenue.
That's awesome. What are some common mistakes companies make that affect their bottom line?
Sure. There's many mistakes, but the truth is the biggest mistake that we see over and over again is people managing and analyzing the business in Excel. When you get to a certain point, you've got to trust the system. And we've got to use the system to get the value out of it. But a lot of companies, maybe they're still in QuickBooks or an outdated or just, other ERP that doesn't quite cut it. So they end up doing a lot of things in Excel. So when they come to NetSuite, they have to get rid of those tendencies. And the more that we can use the system to automate and provide us with the reporting that we need to make decisions, we can spend a lot more time analyzing the numbers and tweaking those decisions the system's recommending to drive value for the business. So it's really letting the system do what it's going to do, adopting it, and we'll see the value naturally. And for some companies, that'll be on day one. Some companies might take a little bit longer, but all of our customers have a strong ROI after they've put in NetSuite, often far exceeding what they ever thought.
Great. Any final thoughts or ideas you'd like to leave us with?
I think most importantly, if people have questions about these strategies, we're certainly here to help. So you can always contact us and learn more. Certainly, there's a team of NetSuite experts to do implementations, but at the same token, if there's strategy that we can talk about, a different business process strategy, then we're certainly happy to offer and share what we've learned across our experiences across our customer base and share some of those best practices with you.
Thanks so much, Josh. If you'd like to find out more, please contact Michael Manter.